Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another 10-cent beer night, the official sports show of Fifth Dimension Radio.com every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here at FifthDimensionRadio.com. I am Seth. We are recording here for Monday the 25th, for Wednesday the 27th, and we are recording here on Monday the 25th, so all the information I know is up to Monday the 25th, so anything that happens between now and then, that's why we won't talk about it, because we don't know it. But I can tell you this. Well, one, it's just going to be me today. Bob Fritz had a other obligation, a prior commitment that kept him from being on our show today. But, we'll have Bob back next week. But all that being said, obviously the show here today is on the 27th, and on the 28th is Thanksgiving. So this is the Thanksgiving holiday week for everybody. I know that's where everybody's mind is at. They're looking forward to the short week at work, while we're looking for another great week in sports, because if I were to name something I'm thankful for recently, it was this past week in sports, okay? We'll get with the bad news first, because there's so little of it. The rest is good news, okay? So, the bad news is the Cavaliers' win streak did end last Tuesday against the Boston Celtics. They played a heck of a game. They really did. They lost by 3. Then they proceeded to win the 2 games after it. So, they're 17-1, and they're on top of the whole NBA still, and starting a new winning streak, and everybody's injuries are healing up. We'll get to that a little bit here. But, so, Cavaliers go 2-1 this past week, all right? The Browns won Thursday. The Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the snow Thursday in Cleveland. We'll talk about that in a sec. Ohio State basketball won. Akron Zips basketball went 3-0 over the weekend. Akron Zips football keeps the wagon wheel. Ohio State football won against Indiana. Number 2 Ohio State beat number 5 Indiana. Whooped them. Okay? These are all good things. So it was a great week. It was a great week, to say the least. And now it's time to talk a little bit about that week and the upcoming things we have going on for this Thanksgiving. First, we're going to talk about the Browns' victory versus the Steelers. I had it in my gut that the Browns had a chance here. And I'm going to give you some statistics right now. After that win from the Browns, okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night games away in the division, okay, and mind you that Thursday night games are not too old. I'll look that up for you while I'm talking here. Thursday night games against the division on the road, Pittsburgh Steelers are 0-8. At least 3 of those are the Browns. There might be a 4th one. I might be forgetting one, but there's 3 games that come to mind Thursday in Cleveland that the Browns had beat them and won, okay? Out of those 8 losses, 6 of them are Mike Tomlin's, okay? Mike Tomlin is 2-8 overall in away Thursday night games. 2-9, excuse me. He was 2-8. He cannot get his team ready for a away Thursday night game. He just really, really can't, and that's it's crazy. Let me see here. Thursday night game started in 2006, so it's been about 18 years of Thursday night games. Hard to believe, but yeah, that's when it started, because it started on NFL Network in 2006, and then everybody has had different broadcasts since then, and now it's with Amazon and whatnot. Anyway, though, I'm not going to talk about the history of Thursday night, but I was just talking about the Steelers' history there. So I knew the Browns had an edge here. Okay, you might be thinking, well, Seth, they were 2-8. The Steelers were 8-2. Did you really think you had the edge? I said, well, their first Thursday night loss in Cleveland, the Browns were 1-11, and the Steelers were hanging on to defending their Super Bowl title and trying to make the playoffs, and the Browns eliminated them that night. So this kind of thing has happened before, is what I'm trying to say. My overall view of the game, overall the team played well. they did lose the lead there. They came back and won it. Some Pittsburgh fans will complain and say, well, we just choked. Say what you want. Cleveland still came back and won. Cleveland could have done the old Cleveland thing, which was just drop the ball all over the place. And I'm not even just talking about literally in the literal sense. I mean, just drop the ball in the situation and just give Pittsburgh the victory. But in a snowstorm where 90% of the fans were Browns fans, and you don't take that for granted in a Browns and Steelers game anymore, no matter if it's in Cleveland or Pittsburgh, they took advantage of the situation, made the right calls, made the right plays, and put them gave themselves a chance to win. Obviously, both defenses, I think, would have played better if it wasn't for the snow. We could use that excuse all day. The bottom line is Pittsburgh gets snowed too, and I mean the weather's going to be a factor. Okay, weather may have been a factor for the upcoming dome discussions. Why? Because some people will say, well, there's the argument for, making a dome. And there's some people that said, you know what? That game was so awesome. And to see the old school snowstorm have the effect on the game as it did, we should never bring the dome to Cleveland. And now that conversation is being had amongst fans. At the end of the day, Jimmy Haslam's going to do what he's going to do. And I think he's going to lean towards the dome. Because, again, a dome brings you other entertainment options and you make a lot of money, So that is the logic behind the dome, outside of, you're going to be warm and cozy during a snowstorm in Cleveland. Overall, Jameis Winston played pretty well. 1 interception. He missed some chances to hit some guys that were wide open, but that's what Jameis Winston does. He's got a great arm. He's got a great pocket presence, but his vision is inconsistent. Sometimes he'll hit the wide open guy that gives you the biggest play on the field at the time, on the play, I should say. And then there's other times where he's going to throw a guy in triple coverage. Don't ask me why. It's the way he is, but you can get some good out of him, and they overall did. He didn't throw a touchdown the entire game, but he did have an interception. Nick Chubb had the 2 touchdowns, and then I'm trying to remember. Let me pull it up here. Who had the other touchdown for Cleveland? Winston scrambled. That's right, the flip in the end zone. So that was a clutch play by him, by the way. When Winston scrambled and did the backflip into the end zone there. I won't say blackfoot. It was more like a somersault into the end zone, but it was 4th down. He misses that. Maybe they don't win the game. So kudos to him. Seriously, that was awesome. Nick Chubb overall did well. Issue is I don't think he got the ball as much. He did get 20 attempts, but I mean, he got some key first downs. He got 2 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy did very well with his 6 receptions and 85 yards. He was a top receiver there for Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, 270 yards, 1 touchdown. By the way, this is the first time Cleveland beat Russell Wilson. He's always had their number. This is the first game he's played with against them as a member of the Steelers, but he's literally always beat the Browns. Jaylen Warren, 45 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 attempts. That was their leading rusher, and their lead receiver was Calvin Austin III. He had 78 yards for 3 receptions and 1 touchdown. All in all, a solid game. There's still some things they need to touch up with, but I say take that momentum and carry it with you until next Monday night, and we'll go talk about that game in a little bit there. But a good win for the Browns. They're 3-8. People are like, they're celebrating being 3-8. No. I had a friend that hit the nail on the head yesterday talking to me. The Browns-Steelers game is the professional football version of Ohio State and Michigan, which, again, is this week. It's not the Browns Super Bowl. Don't get that egotistical, Steelers fans. It's just a good rival game, and we get them twice a year. I think they end the season playing Pittsburgh. I'll check that right now. No, they end the season with the Ravens. They play Pittsburgh again in 2 weeks. So Pittsburgh's gonna be seeking some revenge out in their home field. But we'll see. I mean, the Browns have also played Pittsburgh in a short amount of time, around 2 weeks before, and have beat them both times. And I'm talking about in 2020 when they beat them at the end of the season in Cleveland, and then the next time in Pittsburgh for the playoff game there. But I just need Cleveland to take this momentum and carry it onwards the rest of the season. There's not very many games left, but it's like end on the highest note possible, please, because you got some tough matchups coming up for sure. And we know Pittsburgh will want that revenge for sure. Switching over real quick to the Cavaliers. So they did lose to the Celtics last Tuesday. They did beat the Pelicans 120-100. That was a big deal because Jalen Tyson, the 20th overall pick of the NBA draft, made his first start because of all the injuries the Cavs had. And mind you, that Pelicans game was the day right after they lost to the Celtics, so some of the players were gassed. But they pulled out the win. Jalen Tyson almost had a triple-double, 17 points. I think it was 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. That is impressive for a guy on his first game, seriously. And I'm pulling it up here. And I know that the coach, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. I was going by memory here. The coach, Kenny Atkinson, did not want to start him. DeMar Carroll, who used to play against the Cavaliers about 10 years ago or so, the assistant coach begged him, told him, this is the time with everybody hurt. This guy is ready to go. He's ready to play, and he would match up well in this game. And Atkinson was talked into it. He did it. No regrets. It worked out well. Good for him. And then Sunday night, they beat the Raptors 122-108. I watched the game. Overall, a good performance by Cleveland. A couple of things I wish they would have done better. Raptors are not necessarily a team to write home about. They're 4-13. They have a talented roster, don't get me wrong. But Cleveland let them back in a couple times, and that hurt them. The big story in that one, Ty Jerome off the bench, 26 points. And 3 rebounds and 6 assists right off the bench. He led the team. He's been killing it of late. If there was the NBA awards were to happen early for any reason, okay, he would be the 6th man of the year. This guy is absolutely killing it off the bench. I've called him the Cavs Manu Ginobili, for anybody that remembers him. Hall of Famer, multi-6 man of the year awards for the San Antonio Spurs. He actually went to multiple All-Star games too. Well, I think he's the only 6th man to make an All-Star game. He eventually did work his way up to the starting spot later in his career, but he will always be known as that guy that just blew up off the bench. I mean, it's been impressive, but this Cavaliers team keeps on trucking, keeps on hammering out the wins. I mean, there's nothing bad you can say. There's little stuff they need to work on, but they are going to work on it. They address those needs, and they recognize those, and they're going to work on it, okay? And that's a little bit more taking some better shots. Because yesterday it was like they sometimes found the right guy at the right time, and then sometimes they were just throwing up shots even when they were covered. It's not a good look, but they're getting better at it. They really are. And at the end of the day, they won the game. They're 17-1. They're on top of the NBA right now. This is great. Okay. Kind of injury update with the team. Dean Wade is making some serious progress. I don't know. He tweaked something, and he didn't play yesterday. But they said, he could. They don't have a timetable, but they said he could be back sooner than later. Caris LeVert's expected to be back this week. He's I think he had a wrist injury or something. I don't have the injury report in front of me right now, but I know he's been out. Everybody else is back except for Max Strus. He's got that ankle injury he sustained in the preseason, and he's done some light work and some shoot around, but it's getting there. But they did say they were hoping to have him back next week. They're saying that's probably not going to happen. It might be a little bit more time, but he's really progressing. Things are getting there. So it sounds like realistically, Dean Wade and Caris LeVert could be back for the team this week, and the only guy hurt other than that would be Max Strus. But again, if And Max Strus is coming in big off the bench still, not as a player, but as kind of, they call him Coach Strus because Strus has that knack as a defensive general, which is one of the reasons they brought the guy in. He was a good 3-and-D player. He's been around on some very successful teams with the Miami Heat and then even some with the Boston Celtics. So he's been around. He knows the looks. He knows the setup. The best way to get you to win in certain defensive situations. So he will yell from the bench, not call as like the coach, but he'll be like, do this, do that. He pushed Atkinson to do more of a zone against the Hornets about a little over a week ago that helped him win the game. So like, this guy might not be playing, but he's still contributing in a way and form, and that is huge when you have a veteran player doing that. Because that is somebody that's not sitting around saying, yeah, I'll do my part when it's time, when it's, when I'm healthy and I can get back out there play. No, this guy's contributing now because he wants them as much prepared as possible when he comes in and plays. And he wants them to keep doing what they're doing because right now it's fun. They're 17-1. And they're really loving playing this game right now. And, I know Jared Allen made a great compliment because they're talking about the Browns fans being, the team was 2-8 before the Steelers' victory. And the place is sold out pretty much in the Steelers game. 90% of the fans were Browns fans. And the snow hits and nobody leaves. They stay for the game, and they made a good look nationally doing that. And Jared Allen made the comment, he said, that's the great thing about Cleveland. He said, opposed to their 15-0 start, he said they could have went 0-15, and he said they still would have got fans in the stands. Somebody would have showed up, and that was the impression that was made on him when he first came here and they were rebuilding. And now that they're winning, and he will tell you it's more fun to win, and they sell more when they win. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they've had back-to-back Sunday basketball games. Mind you, they're 10-0 on the home court. Both Sunday games were at home, playing non-big teams, non-big markets. They played Toronto last night. They played the Hornets the Sunday before. I was at the Hornets game. That place was packed, like absolutely packed. In my section, okay, we're talking 8 rows with at least 20 seats per row. There was 3 open seats. That was it. That was just my section up there. It's not in the nosebleeds. It's not quite up there, but it's like second level underneath it. The rest of the place was the same way. And you do the same thing with the Raptors, too. People are loving this Cavs team. They're showing up to these games. Cleveland will definitely show up. Real quick, we don't have a lot of time for the first segment, so I'm going to speed it up here. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, they'll be back home against the Atlanta Hawks, and I think that is a midseason game day tournament day. Yours truly will be there, so I look forward to attending that game. Friday, Black Friday on NBA TV, they will be at Atlanta, so they have back-to-back games against the Hawks this week. And then Sunday, here we go. It's time for revenge. The Boston Celtics come to Cleveland for the first time since Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Time to win that one. I'm going to say they should go at least 2-0 this week. I would love to see 3-0 get that revenge against the Celtics, but they should be able to sweep the Hawks in these 2 games here. I got to take a break. When we come back, there was some big upsets in college football that shook up the entire top 25 of this upcoming week in college football. That in Ohio State is hosting the game of the season. If you know, you know. We'll be back. And welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. I'm Seth, and I hope you guys have some special Thanksgiving plans coming up this week, other than football. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, football's part of the fun of it. But there's some more important things in football, and I hope you guys are able to get together with some loved ones and enjoy yourselves this weekend for sure. Enjoy yourselves more than some of these upsets in college football this past weekend. Oh my gosh, this was crazy. Absolutely, some of these upsets I could not believe. We'll start with just ranked teams that have lost. This one wasn't an upset, but as you are well know, unless you've not been paying attention, number 2 Ohio State did beat number 5 Indiana, so that shook things up. 38-15, mind you. I thought Indiana was going to have a little bit of a better fight there, but Ohio State also did play very, very well. I was able to watch most of that. And so both teams are now 10-1, and I expect Ohio State to just stay right there at number 2. Indiana's probably going to drop a little bit, but they're still being in the playoff conversation as of now. Number 9, Ole Miss lost to Florida, and so Ole Miss drops to 8-3. Florida goes to 6-5. 24-17. That one was an SEC rivalry right there, but yeah, that was. Did not see that one coming. Then we had number 16 Colorado lose to unranked Kansas. So that was Colorado drops to 8-3. Kansas improves to 5-6. Kansas beat them 37-21. That's a good margin there. And that's the thing I don't get with this Deion Sanders run Colorado program, which for the record, I'm a fan of. I like what he's doing there. I thought he's done a good job so far, and this is his best year yet. But he will lose some of those key games he shouldn't be losing, and it'll be by a good margin too. It won't be like, oh, well, it was a field goal. No, they lost by 16 points, and that's it's crazy. And I'm gonna pull this up real quick. His son, Shedder, I may have butchered that bad, but anyway, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 4 rushing attempts for 26 yards. He's predicted to potentially be the top quarterback in the next class. And so this was not a good game for him, even though he didn't play bad. Don't get me wrong, the stats say it. He overall did well, but just they could not pull that one out against Kansas, and that's a tough one for Colorado, especially when you're trying to make the 12-team playoff there. Then you had BYU lost to Arizona State in Arizona 23-28. That was a good game. Both teams are 9-2 now. BYU's number 14 in the nation. Arizona State was 21. And so I guess those are going to kind of flip-flop a bit, but they're not going to. I mean, I think Arizona State could go up a bit, but I don't think BYU is going to go drop that much. You had number 19 Army get destroyed by number 6 Notre Dame 14-49 in Illinois there. Army drops down to 9-1 and Notre Dame improves to 10-1. And so Notre Dame is still making their case for the big to make the big playoff there in a month. Number 15 Texas A&M lost by 2 to unranked Auburn 43-41. Texas A&M is now 8-3. Auburn is now 5-6. And then this was a big one. For the first time in years, Bama has lost their 3rd game of the season. They got stomped by unranked Oklahoma 24-3, and Bama was ranked number 7th in the nation. Now they're going to drop. That is their worst loss to an unranked team since 1998. And I'm tempted to say it was Auburn. That's who they lost to, but I'm going by memory here. But yeah, 1998 was the last time they lost to a team by that kind of margin. Unranked team, excuse me. And so, Oklahoma's feeling good. Oklahoma improves to 6-5. But that was a huge victory for them. But this has definitely shaken some things up. Going into this week, some ranked battles to watch out for. Of course, there's some games on Thursday and Friday, Thanksgiving and then Black Friday as well. Watch out for, and I'm going to leave the big game alone for a sec, but noon on ESPN, watch out for number 18 South Carolina versus number 17 Clemson. Clemson coach was complaining that they are the only team competing against Big Ten and SEC group teams for the playoff. Gotta disagree, especially with Notre Dame in the mix there too. But I mean, say what you want, but it's just a weird look to complain about something like that. Let me see. Number 5, Texas will take on number 15, Texas A&M. That's going to be a good one. For the first time since they've joined the Big Ten, Washington will play Oregon. So that's going to be a good one. I see Notre Dame's playing USC. That's a random game to be played for USC on their schedule this late in the season. So there you have it. Real quick update there on not update I should say, but overview of the Big Ten games over the weekend. Last Friday, Purdue lost to Michigan State 17-24. Michigan State improves to 5-6. I already told you about Ohio State and their victory. Iowa beats Maryland 29-13. Iowa improves to 7-4. So they're going to be looking at a bowl game here. Iowa will be. Illinois, number 25 Illinois beats Rutgers 30-31. They improved to 8-3. The team up north did beat up Northwestern 50-6, and they improved to 6-5. Number 4 Penn State beat Minnesota 26-25. They edged them out to improve to 10-1. So good game for Minnesota, seriously. Wisconsin loses to Nebraska 44-25. Nebraska improves to 6-5. USC beats UCLA in their first matchup as Big Ten teams, and USC improves. USC won 19-13. They improved to 6-5. This week's game in the Big Ten on Friday, Black Friday on CBS at noon. Minnesota at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is favored by 2 points. 7:30 p.m. on NBC on Black Friday. Nebraska at Iowa. Iowa is favored by 5.5 points. Saturday, November 30th. It's the game, guys. X out your M's. Just call them the team up north this week. On Fox at noon, the team up north goes to Columbus at the Shoe to play the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeyes favored by 21 points. No joke there. Noon on the Big Ten Network. In case you don't care about the big game of the week, you can turn on this game. Number 25 Illinois at Northwestern, and Illinois is 7.5-point favorites. 3:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. This is a random. I was talking about USC playing a random game. Oh my goodness. Okay, Fresno State at UCLA. 3:30 p.m. UCLA is favored by 9.5 points. Random. I'm sorry that Fresno's not even in the Big Ten, and here we are at the end of November, and you're finally playing Fresno on your schedule. Weird. Anyway, 3:30 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, Rutgers at Michigan State. Michigan State is favored by 1.5. They should take that because Michigan State could use a win. 3:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Maryland at number 4 Penn State, and Penn State is favored by 24.5 points. I think they'll run away with that one. I mentioned this earlier. 3:30 p.m. on CBS. Number 6 Notre Dame at USC, and Notre Dame's only favored by 7 points. If USC could make an upset here, this would be huge, and it would be a statement to the Big Ten. Hey, we're here to win too. 7 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Struggling Purdue, that's only got one win, is going into Indiana to play the number 5 Indiana Hoosiers. I think they're number 5 now. They could be. No, they're 10 now. Excuse me. So they're still in the top 10. They're still in the playoff conversation right now. Indiana is favored by 29 points. 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Washington at number 1 Oregon, and Oregon is favored by 19 points there. So, yeah, looking forward to the big game there with Ohio State. It's going to be interesting because if Ohio State wins this game, there's a good chance Michigan does not get a bowl game, which I see them getting a bowl game. They won 6 games already. They also the defending champs. They're also Michigan. I see them plugging for rating purposes and money and commercials and all that fun stuff. I see them plugging into some small bowl, but I say bury them. This is your chance to bury them. You failed on us the past 3 years. I've been very upset about that. Bury them. You are the better team here, Buckeyes. Just get it done. So, there you go. In the MAC this past week, we're going to switch to sides there. Last Tuesday, the Akron Zips retained the wagon wheel, beating Kent State at Dick Stadium 38-17. Akron improves to 3-8, and Kent goes to 0-11. This is the Zips' best record in a while. They have not won 3 games in a while. I hate to say that. I really, really do. I'm going to pull up here. Oh, no, those are school records. I was trying to find out what, because it's been about 5 years since Akron's had at least 3 wins there. I meant to come more. Let's see. But Bowden had them at 5-7 in 2016. Yeah, I mean it's been a while. I'm tempted to say, let's see. I'm tempted to say since 2018, this is the first time they've won at least 3 games and more than one in the MAC. So, yeah, I mean, that's been too long. That's been 6 years. So there you go. Akron, though, they played very well. They didn't take the lead from the beginning. I think they were down 7-0. They came back and did take the lead and then never turned back, but they played a very good game there. Bob was at the game with his brother Bill, and they were very pleased about it. So moving on to other finals in the MAC before I get too distracted. Last Tuesday, Western Michigan lost to Central Michigan 14-16. That was technically an upset. Central Michigan improves to 4-7. Northern Illinois loses to Miami of Ohio 20-9. Miami of Ohio has won their 7th game. They're 7-4. Last Wednesday, Buffalo beat Eastern Michigan 37-20. Buffalo is now 7-4. Ohio beat Toledo 24-7. Ohio is now 8-3. I think Ohio is now one of the new favorites in the MAC now, and looked for them to be the threat to win the MAC championship. And then last Saturday, we did have a Saturday MAC game. Bowling Green beat Ball State 38-13. Bowling Green improves to 7-4. So week 14 here, okay? Tuesday, the 26th, so 2 days before Thanksgiving, Toledo is going to be at Akron. Toledo is favored by 8. I think they'll be favored by more than that. This is Akron's last home game of the season. 7 p.m., and that's on ESPN2. 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Kent will be at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 21 points. Black Friday, November 29th. Miami of Ohio at Bowling Green at noon on ESPNU. Bowling Green is favored by 2.5 points. So on CBS Network at noon, Ball State at Ohio. Ohio is favored by 15.5 points. I would say so. Saturday, November 30th, 1:30 p.m. on ESPN+. Eastern Michigan at Western Michigan. We do have a Michigan battle that's not against Ohio State. And Western Michigan's favored by 7 points. 3:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. Central Michigan will be at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is favored by 13 points. And that is all your MACtion for football there. Switching gears to basketball real quick. For Ohio State, this past Friday, they beat Campbell 104-60. It was one of those games where they're going to win. They're just going to win. They're playing tonight, so by the time you hear this, you're going to know the result, but they're playing Green Bay tonight. Not the Packers. Even though I heard if there was a pro team that had a reputation like the college teams, they were comparing like who would be who. They said Green Bay would be Ohio State. Just that reputation there. So that's a compliment. That's some good history between the two teams. But anyway, and that's football too. That's not, that'll be on Big Ten Network tonight at 7 p.m. Again, you know the result by the time you hear this. Friday, November 29th on Peacock at 2:30 p.m. Ohio State's at Pittsburgh. And so they're going to play the Panthers there that Friday in basketball. So that one's going to be an interesting one to watch for Ohio State. So I think they could beat up Green Bay, but I think the Pittsburgh one's going to be close. For Akron men, they had their tournament over the weekend, and they swept the board in Akron here. They beat Lamar last Friday 79-72. Saturday they beat Nebraska Omaha 92-84, and then Sunday they beat Alabama State 97-78. By the time you hear this, actually no, they do not have any games this week. Their next game is not until December 3rd, so we'll talk more about that in our next show. But Akron is now 4-2 to start the season, and they are on a 3-game win streak after this past weekend. So, hey, not bad. I'm looking at their schedule ahead. They do have a couple Ivy League schools they're playing, which I think is weird. But some of those Ivy League schools make the big tournament, so why not? Just walk away with the win there. Let me see. I thought the MLS champion was crowned. Let's see. No, that's not till another week there. But yeah, I was going to talk about that, but no. I know Akron men's soccer did lose to Indiana over the weekend, so they are officially done. They did beat Princeton in the first round of the tournament, 1-0, but they did lose to Indiana. I think it was 3-1 or 2-1, something like that. Another good season for the Akron men's soccer team. And that was in overtime. Yeah, they lost 2-1 in overtime to Indiana. So, I mean, it was a good year. It really was. It started off kind of rocky, but they bounced back since then, and they played very well the rest of the way. So, we look forward to another season there. Let me see. I don't really have much time for MLB Hot Stove right now. We'll carry that to the third segment when I'm making my NFL picks. Anything interesting that's happened there. But, so, overall, a great week, like I said, in sports, especially in the college, for our college teams. Not expecting Akron to make a ton of noise against Toledo, but I am expecting Ohio State to crush Michigan here this coming week. And then Ohio State basketball, this will be a good test for the new coach there. But they got a good team this year. They really do. A lot of good potential NBA prospects on that team. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it'll be very curious to see how they fare against Pittsburgh this weekend. I got to take a break. When we come back, we will talk about this next NFL games, including Browns for the second week in a row on primetime. We'll talk about that and more. Stay tuned. And welcome back to our last segment here at 10 Cent Beer Night here at FifthDimensionRare.com in the Cuyahoga Falls Studios. I'm Seth here, and everybody, I hope you stay warm this week, especially if you live in Ohio. Temperatures are supposed to drop to a very annoying temperature over the weekend. We're talking 20s and teens, but nothing too wet either. I guess Thanksgiving's supposed to be flurries, but other than that, that will be fine. So I guess attend a game, stay home in the warm of your house. If you're not working, of course. And if you are working outside, stay warm in any way you can. And just, enjoy yourself to the best of your ability on this Thanksgiving weekend here. MLB Hot Stove, nothing crazy out there right now. There was a couple how should I say, local team stuff. Well, I mean Cleveland, Cincinnati. I want to bring up Mike Napoli, former Cleveland Indian, who played for Terry Francona up here in Cleveland in 2016. He's going to have a role on Tito Francona's staff in Cincinnati. It has not been announced what it is, but still, it's kind of an honor to once played for a guy and now have an important role with his new team. That's a big deal there. There was a trade the Guardians made over the... Yeah, so they traded Eli Morgan to the Cubs for outfield prospect Alfonso Soriano. He's an outfielder. He's supposed to have power. He's a right-handed bat, right-handed arm. How old is he? He's 20 years old, so we might, if it does pan out, we won't probably see him for a bit. In the minor leagues this year, he played for a Single-A Myrtle Beach there. Actually, so Bob probably saw him play because he was down there at those games, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans there. And he hit 230 with 16 home runs and 73 RBIs. So yeah, he's known for his power, not his average. But that was a move Cleveland made. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet. No big moves yet, and that's going to change in a couple weeks. And when I mean big moves, I mean just in general in the league. I'm not talking about Cleveland, Cincinnati per se, but I mean there's been some signings, nothing big, but things, like I said, things will pick up here in the coming weeks, especially after the Thanksgiving holiday and right before Christmas too. In the NFL, some good games this past weekend. Again, while we're doing this show, we don't know the result of the Baltimore Ravens and LA Chargers game. I think I picked Chargers in that one. I think Bob picked Baltimore there. But some key games here that really made an impression on me watching the games, outside, of course, the Browns beating the Steelers. Oh, but before I forget, I did just see, we were talking about Akron Zips basketball. Nate Johnson, their guard, won MAC Player of the Week this past week. So good for Mr. Johnson there. Redshirted, I think he's a freshman. But good for him, especially if he is a freshman. That's very impressive to win the MAC Player of the Week in the third week of the college basketball season, something like that. But games that really stood out to me. One, good for the Carolina Panthers. Like almost upsetting the Chiefs. They lost 30-27. Kansas City hit a game-winning field goal at the end. But I mean, Carolina put up a fight. We were really, me and my friend who was watching the game were really pulling for Carolina on that one there. Minnesota beat Chicago in overtime 30-27. I'm not going to say all of these, but just the ones that really were like, wow, game changers. Tennessee Titans upset the Houston Texans 32-27. That was kind of a big deal there. Dallas Cowboys upset the Washington Commanders 34-26. That game, real quick, let me pull the recap up. This was crazy, okay? With going into the fourth quarter with like 6 minutes left, the Cowboys were up 13-9. 6 minutes left of the game, ladies and gentlemen. They won 34-26. They were up 13-9. It's 6 minutes. Yeah, they scored 21 points and Washington scored 15 in the last 6 minutes of that game. Absolutely insanity. It just was crazy. But that was very entertaining there. You had Green Bay beat up San Francisco 38-10. Without Brock Purdy, it wasn't really the same San Francisco offense you've seen in the past. Even defensively, I will say. I think San Francisco defense is not the same as it's been the past couple of years. I mean, Green Bay beat them up. You had I called this one. Seattle beat Arizona 16-6. That was a very good game. The two rivals there that will be battling off for playoff position later in the year there. So, time to talk about your Week 13 games here of the NFL. No bye weeks. None. No bye weeks. You get no bye weeks for Thanksgiving. You'll be thankful for football and you'll like it. But you have a good amount of football, including, I'll mention it for the 20th time, Ohio State versus the team up north. That's good. That's the game everybody's watching this weekend. So that being said, here are my picks for Week 13 in the NFL. We'll start Thursday, Thanksgiving, November 28th, Turkey Day, whatever you want to call it. Your Thursday, I shouldn't say night, it'd be all-day games. This Thursday, you have 3 games. I think only 2 of them might be good. One of them is going to be bad. Well, one at a time here. 12:30 p.m. we go to Detroit on CBS. The Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. I like this matchup here. You got 2 good rivals. 2 of them are playing pretty solid. Up to this point, Detroit is outplaying the whole NFL, but Chicago is playing much better than people thought. They are a competitive team. They are a team that will find a way to beat you. 12:30 p.m. Who am I going to take Detroit's favored by 10.5 points. I am going to take the Lions here on Thanksgiving at home. I just think they're the better overall team. They're playing very well right now. I do think most of the game it's going to be close, but somewhere there at the end of that third quarter or early fourth quarter, Detroit's going to make a break, and it's just going to be over. That's what I have. Give me Detroit by 14. I tempted to even say 17, but I do think that it will be by that much. I think they're going to make a breakthrough at some point in this game and just go on and beat the Bears. But I do think the majority of the game is going to be a good game. It's going to be close. 4:30 p.m. on Fox. We go down to Dallas. As our normal tradition, the second game is always in Dallas with the Cowboys. They're going to play their division rival, the New York Giants. Yeah, it'll be Giants and Cowboys. I don't know how this got set up. They really could have used this game against Washington as the Thanksgiving game, but no, let's just go with the Giants. The Giants who recently cut Daniel Jones. The Giants who had to play two different quarterbacks yesterday with DeVito, and then Locke had to come in while DeVito was briefly hurt. You have the Dallas Cowboys who also have been using two quarterbacks for two different plays. For different plays, excuse me. Mainly Cooper Rush is their starter right now, and you have Trey Lance who'll come in for a running play or something. Dallas is favored by 4. I am taking the Cowboys by 10. And the reason I say Cowboys by 10 is I was impressed how well they played Washington, how they beat them. I do think they're going to beat this Giants team. I think it's going to be overall a boring game. It could be like decent there at first, like maybe back and forth, a lot more punting. I know that doesn't sound fun, but both defenses going at each other, limiting how many points are on the board. I think at the end of the day, I think Dallas brings a little bit more to the table. This Giants team is just struggling to get anything going. You're in Dallas. You got to give the fans at home eating Thanksgiving dinner a good show. I'm going Dallas Cowboys there. It's just not going to be that good of a game. It's going to have its moments, but we've seen better games in Dallas, okay? All right, and we go to Lambeau in Green Bay for your third game of Thanksgiving, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. The Miami Dolphins at the Green Bay Packers. Packers are favored by 3. This one could be a good one, and it all depends if we see the Miami Dolphins team we saw against New England this past weekend, where Tua was on his game, he's slinging the ball all over the place, he's getting touchdowns. If that's the kind of Miami team we're going to see against Green Bay, this is going to be a very fun game, because Green Bay is going to bring it. They have a solid defense, they have a great offense, okay? Green Bay, and you're in Green Bay too. There might even be some snow, and you know how Lambeau gets when it snows. It's just I'm going with Green Bay. I'm going to take Green Bay here. I'm going to take Green Bay by 13. But I think it could be closer if the Miami Dolphins, we know they can show up. The other issue too, ladies and gentlemen, this Dolphins team under their current head coach, and I forget, I'll have to look it up here. They do not do well in the snow. When it's cold out there. Mike McDaniel, excuse me. Since he's been their coach, they do not play well in the cold. It's just the way it is. And so if it does get, they're predicting 33 degrees out there that night, Green Bay might roll in this one. So it could go either way, but I'm going Green Bay regardless. Friday, November 29th. Yes, on Black Friday, we have an NFL game. You're going to have an NFL game every day from Thursday to Monday this week. Friday, November 29th, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is on Amazon Network, by the way. So because Amazon didn't get their Thursday night game because of Thanksgiving, they're going to do a Friday game. Because why not? You know. Anyway, Las Vegas at Kansas City. I'm taking Kansas City in this one. It's in Kansas City, 1. 2, Las Vegas, probably lost Gardner Minshew for the rest of the year due to shoulder injury. Rumor has it they might look at Daniel Jones, who just got cut. We'll see. Regardless, there's a lot going on in Las Vegas. They have a lot of holes to fill before they can become consistently competitive again. I know this is a rival game. I got Kansas City rolling through. They say 13. I'm going to say 20. Kansas City's going to win. Sunday, December 1st. So we have a regular Sunday games. 1 p.m. on CBS. The Los Angeles Chargers, who we do not know, again, the result of that game yet between them and the Ravens, going to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Chargers are favored by 1 point. I'm going to say give me the Chargers by 6. I think this is going to be a solid game, but I do like them a little bit better than Atlanta. They've just been playing overall better football than Atlanta has. Atlanta's been pretty inconsistent. There's games where they come in and they just dominate, and there's games they come in and they can't do anything right. I'm going with the Chargers here. 1 p.m. on CBS, the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a loss to the Cleveland Browns. We'll go down to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Bengals 2.5 point favorites in this one. And you know what? I'm taking the Bengals. Pittsburgh, I think something's got figured out in the Cleveland game against Pittsburgh. Because Cleveland shut down TJ Watt. The offense wasn't running as they were hoping it would. Najee Harris got shut down too. The Bengals got a lot to play for. The Bengals are trying to stay in the playoff conversation the best they can. They can't really afford too many more losses. I think 2 more losses and they're pretty much toast. They're in Cincinnati. I'm going with the Bengals. I give them by 3. It'll be close. It'll be a good game. 1 p.m. on Fox. The Houston Texans coming off a upset loss to the Titans will go to Jacksonville to play their in-division rivals, the Jaguars. Houston favored by 5, and it's supposed to be 67 degrees in Jacksonville that day. I'm going to take Houston. I think they're going to make up for that loss. They're a little upset at themselves. They're going to take it out in Jacksonville. I'm going with Houston. Give me Houston by 12. We'll do a random number. 12, that's good enough. 1 p.m. on Fox, Arizona Cardinals coming off a loss against the Seattle Seahawks, and they're going to go to Minnesota to play the Vikings, who just had a win versus the Bears. Minnesota is favored by 3.5 points. I like both these teams. I think Arizona's headed the right direction. I think Minnesota's one of the hotter teams in the NFC. I'm going to go Minnesota by 6. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game. I just really like the way Minnesota's playing on both sides of the ball. Arizona needs to get better a little bit on both sides, but they're getting there. They really are. I like their young core. I like the way they've been playing this year. They've been playing tough. I'm going to take Minnesota, though. 1 p.m. on CBS. We're in Foxborough as the Indianapolis Colts go on to play the New England Patriots. Colts are 2.5 point favorites. I agree with that. Give me Colts by 4. I know it's a random number, but force them to go into the end zone instead of the touchdown in the last possession. I just think Indianapolis is a better team. New England's at times not playing too bad. They didn't have a great weekend this past weekend, and this could be a game New England pulls out of their butt. But I think Indianapolis they have more firepower. They really do. Anthony Richardson's playing a little better. I think once they get things going on the field, find a tempo, they'll be able to beat New England. 1 p.m. on Fox, Seattle Seahawks at the New Jersey Jets. New York Jets, excuse me. Seattle is 1.5 favorites. Give me more. I don't like the way the Jets have been playing at all. It's a mess over there. Give me the Seahawks by 16. Yes, I'm going to say they're going to blow them out in New York. I think it's going to be bad. Seattle's playing very well. Like Jets are the exact opposite. Give me Seattle. 1 p.m. on CBS. Both these teams played a great game this past weekend as the Tennessee Titans go to Maryland, I think it technically is, to play the Washington Commanders. Commanders 5.5 point favorites. I agree. I think, Tennessee, I think I called that one. I can't remember. Maybe I didn't. But Tennessee is there's more life now with the Titans. But I think they need to do a little bit more, and Washington's got a very good team on the field right now, and they're mad they lost to the Cowboys. Give me Washington by about 10. We'll just do 10 there. 4:05 p.m. on Fox. Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to Carolina to play the Panthers. Tampa Bay is favored by 6 points. Baker's getting some pieces back. He played very, very well against the Giants. I think they're going to take advantage of this. Give me Tampa Bay by 7. I do think Carolina's going to fight. Carolina's going to fight like they did against Kansas City. But I think Baker's going to edge them out. So give me Tampa Bay by 7. That's 4:05 p.m. again on Fox. 4:05 p.m. on Fox. I got to hurry up here. Los Angeles Rams at New Orleans Saints. Rams coming off a tough loss against the Eagles there. They have Rams favored by 2.5 points. I agree with that. Give me Rams by 8 points. I do think they're the better team here. I think especially with the Saints and how beat up their roster is. I just think the Rams have the advantage. They're not playing bad football of late, but they've just been outplayed by their other opponents. The Rams have, and I think this is one I think they can win. 4:25 p.m. Oh, this is gonna be a good one on CBS. Philadelphia Eagles at the Baltimore Ravens. We're in Baltimore. Baltimore's 2.5 points favorites. I am taking the Eagles, so I love the way the Eagles have been playing. They have been playing tough. Give me the Eagles by 7. Lamar Jackson goes down the field to try to get a touchdown, an extra point to tie the game, and he fails. He gets throws an interception or something. Give me Philly by 7. 8:20 p.m. on NBC, San Francisco 49ers at the Buffalo Bills. We could possibly see snow. Buffalo's favored by 7. Waited all day for a Sunday night. Is this going to be a good one? I'm saying no. Buffalo's going to roll. 49ers defense is not the same as it's been the past couple years. Brock Purdy or not, give me the Buffalo Bills by 20. I said it. 20. This is not going to be as good of a game as people think. I think the Bills are going to roll. Monday night, December 2nd, 8:50 p.m. on ESPN. Your Cleveland Browns are at the Denver Broncos. In Denver. Denver is 5.5 favorites. I'm telling people real quick because I'm running out of time here. I'm taking Denver more seriously. Their defense is solid. Their offense is running better with Bo Nix than it was last year under Russell Wilson. But, and it's a big but, okay? Browns are coming in with some momentum. Bo Nix is still a rookie. If they can play as hard-headed and as tough as they did Pittsburgh to Denver, Browns can win this game. But they have to compete. They have to limit the turnovers. Hand the ball off to Chubb. Give the defense some rest between, possessions. I am going with the Browns by 9 points. I do think it'll be by that margin. I think it'll be a solid game between the two teams. I know Sean Payton has historically done well against the Browns. I know the Broncos it's been back and forth every other game. Either one team wins, the other one does. It's either Broncos win, Browns win, Broncos win. Well, Broncos won last year. I'm going with the Browns this year. Monday night victory in front of everybody and keep that momentum building there. That will do it for me, ladies and gentlemen, on this Thanksgiving. I am thankful for you and all your listeners that have heard us out throughout the past couple years. We're going to continue to put on a quality show for you guys here on FifthDimensionRadio.com and all the Fifth Dimension Radio shows. I'm thankful for producer Bob and hope he has a good Thanksgiving. I am thankful for Bob Fritz and hope he has a good Thanksgiving. And I'm also thankful for the following teams that won this week. Go Zips, go Buckeyes, go Cavs, go Browns. You guys have a great one, and we will see you soon, and with Christmas music soon on Fifth Dimension Radio, so you'll have to suffer through that. So enjoy and have a good Thanksgiving.